Hey, hey, hey! Welcome back to Oops, My English, the podcast that makes learning English easy and enjoyable. I'm Mia.
And I'm Leo. Thanks for being here.
Leo, I still can't believe we're here. We just stepped off the Orient Express about an hour ago, and I'm still buzzing from the whole experience.
I know, right? My legs are a bit shaky, to be honest. We've been on that train for over 24 hours, and now we're sitting in this beautiful old station in Venice, and it all feels like a dream.
Look at this place. The architecture, the atmosphere, the light coming through those huge windows. I had never really thought about train stations being beautiful before, but this one is stunning.
And that train behind us? I keep looking back at it. I'm not ready to say goodbye. That journey was honestly one of the most magical experiences of my entire life.
Same for me. Before this trip, I had only seen the Orient Express in movies and books. I had never imagined I would actually ride on it myself. And now here we are, having just done it.
So that's what we're talking about today. We just rode the Orient Express, and we want to share everything with you while it's still fresh in our minds. The luxury, the food, the scenery, the people we met, all of it.
And of course, we're going to learn some useful English along the way. Today, we're focusing on the past perfect tense, had done, which is essential for talking about experiences and things that happened before other past events.
We're also going to practice lots of descriptive adjectives to help you paint vivid pictures with your words. Because trust me, this experience needs some powerful words to describe it properly.
If you're a B1 or B2 learner, the past perfect is something you really need to master. It helps you tell stories properly and show the order of events clearly.
Before we dive in, quick reminder. If you enjoy learning with us, please subscribe, give this episode a thumbs up, and share it with a friend who's learning English.
Especially if they love travel, history, or murder mysteries. You'll understand why soon.
Okay, let's start with some grammar. Mia, explain the past perfect for our listeners.
All right, so we use the past perfect when we're already talking about the past and we want to refer to something that happened even earlier. It's like the past of the past. The structure is had plus the past participle. I had seen. She had visited. They had never experienced.
Can you give an example in context?
Of course. So if I say, when we boarded the train yesterday, I realized I had forgotten my camera charger. I'm talking about two past events. First, I forgot the charger at home. Then, later, I realized it when we boarded. The forgetting happened before the realizing, so we use past perfect for the earlier action.
So the past perfect shows which thing happened first when you're telling a story about the past.
Exactly. Another example from our trip, I had never seen such beautiful woodwork before I stepped onto the Orient Express. The seeing happened before the stepping, and both are in the past.
We use it a lot with never and already and just, right?
Yes, those words are very common with past perfect. I had never traveled in such luxury. The train had already departed when some passengers arrived at the platform. She had just finished her champagne when the waiter appeared with more.
And we also use it in third conditional sentences, right? With if.
That's right. If I had known how beautiful it would be, I would have booked the trip years ago. The past perfect had known shows the imaginary earlier action, and would have booked shows the imaginary result.
Perfect. Now let's tell our listeners about the Orient Express. What is it exactly? Because some people might not know.
So the Orient Express is one of the most famous trains in history. The original service started in 1883 and ran from Paris to Constantinople, which is now Istanbul. It was the height of luxury travel, connecting Western Europe to the exotic East.
And it wasn't just any train. This was how the wealthy and aristocratic traveled. Kings, queens, diplomats, spies, celebrities. The passenger list read like a who's who of European high society.
Aristocratic means belonging to the highest social class, the nobility. And a who's who is an expression meaning a list of important or famous people.
The original Orient Express stopped running in 2009, but there are now luxury heritage services that recreate the experience. That's what we just traveled on, the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express.
And before we booked this trip, I had only dreamed about it. I had never thought it was something real people could actually do. I thought it was just for billionaires and movie stars.
Same for me. I had read about it. I had watched the Agatha Christie film, but I had never imagined I would actually be sitting on it one day.
Speaking of Agatha Christie, we should mention Murder on the Orient Express. This is probably the most famous story associated with the train. She wrote it in 1934, and it's about the detective Hercule Poirot solving a murder that happens on the train while it's stuck in a snowstorm.
The book has been adapted into films multiple times. There's a classic 1974 version and a more recent 2017 version. If you haven't read the book or seen the films, I highly recommend them. Great for English practice, too.
So before our trip, I had watched both film versions to get myself in the mood. I had also started reading the book, though I hadn't finished it yet.
I hadn't done any preparation at all. I wanted to experience everything fresh, without expectations. Though now, having done the journey, I wish I had read more about the history beforehand.
Okay, let's talk about our actual journey. We started yesterday morning in London.
Yes, Victoria Station. And even before we got on the train, there was a special departure lounge just for Orient Express passengers. We had never been treated like VIPs before. There was champagne, there were attendants in uniforms. There was this incredible sense of occasion.
The atmosphere was elegant and refined. Refined means sophisticated, cultured, having good taste. Everything about the experience felt refined, from the music playing softly to the way the staff spoke to us.
And then we walked to the platform and saw the train for the first time. Mia, do you remember that moment?
How could I forget? It was only yesterday, but it already feels like a precious memory. The carriages were this deep blue color with gold lettering. They looked like something from a museum, but polished and gleaming. I had never seen a train that looked like a work of art before.
Gleaming means shining brightly, reflecting light beautifully. The brass handles, the windows, everything was gleaming.
We stepped on board, and it was like entering another world. The interior was all wood paneling, velvet seats, Art Deco details everywhere.
Art Deco is a style of design from the 1920s and 30s. It features geometric shapes, bold colors, and luxurious materials. The Orient Express is one of the best examples of Art Deco design in the world.
I had never appreciated interior design before that moment. But standing in that corridor, looking at the intricate patterns in the wood, the elegant light fixtures, the plush carpets, I finally understood why people care about these things.
Intricate means very detailed and complicated in design. The woodwork was intricate, with patterns that must have taken craftsmen weeks to create.
And plush means soft, thick, and luxurious. The carpets were plush, the seats were plush, everything felt expensive and comfortable.
We found our cabin, and it was tiny but perfect. There was a sofa that converted into a bed, a small table, and a window with views of the platform. Every inch had been thought through so carefully.
The space was compact, but cleverly designed. Compact means small, but efficiently organized. I had never stayed in such a compact space that still felt luxurious.
And then the train started moving. There was no loud announcement, no jolt, just this gentle gliding sensation as London began to slip away outside our window.
Gliding means moving smoothly and effortlessly, like floating. The train was gliding through the English countryside, and we were just sitting there with champagne, feeling like characters in a film.
We had lunch in the restaurant car, and this is where the experience became truly extraordinary. The dining car was decorated in the same Art Deco style, with white tablecloths, silver cutlery, crystal glasses, and fresh flowers on every table.
I had never eaten a meal like that on a moving vehicle. 3 courses, beautifully presented with wine pairings for each dish. And through the window, the French countryside was rolling past.
Rolling past is a nice expression for scenery moving by as you travel. Fields, villages, forests, everything was rolling past while we dined.
The service was impeccable. Impeccable means perfect, without any flaws. The waiters anticipated everything we needed before we even asked.
At one point, Mia accidentally knocked her napkin onto the floor. Before she had even moved to pick it up, a waiter had appeared with a fresh one. We had never experienced that level of attention before.
After lunch, we returned to our cabin and just sat there, watching the world go by. There was no Wi-Fi, no television, nothing to distract us. Just the rhythm of the train and the changing landscape.
I had brought a book, but I barely read it. I was too mesmerized by everything. Mesmerized means completely captivated, unable to look away. The whole experience was mesmerizing.
As we crossed into the Alps, the scenery became even more dramatic. Snow-capped mountains, deep valleys, tiny villages clinging to hillsides. I had seen photos of the Alps before, but nothing had prepared me for seeing them in person from that train window.
Dramatic in this context means striking and impressive, with strong visual impact. The mountain scenery was dramatic, almost unreal.
And nothing had prepared me is a great example of past perfect. The preparing, or lack of preparing, happened before the seeing, so we use past perfect.
As evening fell, we changed for dinner. And yes, there's a dress code on the Orient Express. Formal attire is expected in the restaurant cars.
Formal attire means dressy, elegant clothing. For men, that means a suit or at least a jacket and tie. For women, a cocktail dress or something similarly elegant. Leo, you looked so handsome in your suit, by the way.
Thank you. And you looked absolutely stunning in that blue dress. I had packed my suit specifically for this moment, but I had never actually worn it anywhere special before. It felt right finally having an occasion for it.
Dinner was even more spectacular than lunch. 5 courses this time, with live piano music in the bar car afterwards. We drank cocktails and talked to other passengers from around the world.
The atmosphere was convivial. Convivial means friendly and lively, with good conversation and enjoyment. Everyone was in such good spirits, sharing stories about why they were there.
One couple was celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. They had first ridden the Orient Express on their honeymoon, and they had always dreamed of doing it again. 50 years later, here they were.
Another passenger was a writer researching a novel set in the 1920s. She had never experienced the period atmosphere firsthand before, and she was taking notes on everything she saw.
I had never met such interesting people in such a short time. There was something about the train that brought people together, that made everyone more open and curious about each other.
After drinks, we returned to our cabin to find it had been transformed. The sofa had been converted into a bed, complete with crisp white sheets and a chocolate on the pillow.
Sleeping on the train was a unique experience. The gentle rocking motion was actually quite soothing. It felt like being in a cradle.
Soothing means calming and relaxing. The rhythm of the train was soothing, and I fell asleep faster than I expected.
I woke up once during the night and looked out the window. We were passing through a small town somewhere in Switzerland, and I could see lights twinkling in the darkness. I had never felt so peaceful while traveling before.
In the morning, we had breakfast delivered to our cabin. Fresh croissants, coffee, orange juice, all served on a silver tray. Through the window, we could see the Italian countryside. We had crossed the Alps while we slept.
And then, just about an hour ago, we arrived here in Venice. The train pulled into Santa Lucia station, and suddenly our journey was over.
I felt this strange sadness when we stepped off the train. I had become so attached to that little world on wheels. I wasn't ready to leave it behind.
But now, sitting here in this beautiful station, looking back at that magnificent blue train, I feel so grateful. Grateful that we did this. Grateful that we have these memories now.
It's funny how a 24-hour journey can change your perspective. Before this trip, I had never really thought about slow travel. I had always been focused on getting to destinations as quickly as possible. Planes, fast trains, efficiency.
But the Orient Express taught us that sometimes the journey is the destination. The experience of traveling can be just as valuable as where you end up.
That's beautifully said. Okay, let's go through some of the descriptive adjectives we've used today, because these are really useful for making your English more vivid and interesting.
Good idea. Let's review them.
First, luxurious. This means extremely comfortable, elegant, and expensive. The train was luxurious. We stayed in a luxurious hotel. It's a step above nice or comfortable.
Elegant. This means graceful, stylish, and refined. The dining car was elegant. She wore an elegant dress. It suggests beauty with simplicity and good taste.
Breathtaking. This means so beautiful or impressive that it takes your breath away. The alpine views were breathtaking. Use this for things that really wow you.
Refined. This means sophisticated and cultured. The atmosphere was refined. He has refined taste. It suggests quality and good judgment.
Intricate. This means very detailed and complex in design. The woodwork was intricate. It describes things with lots of small, careful details.
Plush. This means soft, thick, and luxurious to touch. The plush velvet seats. A plush carpet. It's about texture and comfort.
Compact. This means small but efficiently organized. The cabin was compact. It suggests small size without negative meaning.
Gleaming. This means shining brightly. The gleaming brass handles. It suggests cleanliness and quality.
Impeccable. This means perfect, without any flaws. The service was impeccable. It's the highest praise for quality.
Mesmerizing. This means completely captivating, holding your attention. The scenery was mesmerizing. You can't look away.
Dramatic. When describing scenery, this means striking and impressive. The dramatic mountain views, it suggests strong visual impact.
Surreal. This means dreamlike, almost unbelievable.
Convivial. This means friendly and enjoyable, with good company. A convivial atmosphere. It suggests warmth and good spirits.
And soothing. This means calming and relaxing. The soothing rhythm of the train. It brings peace and comfort.
These adjectives will help you describe experiences in much more interesting ways than just nice or good or beautiful.
All right, let's do a quick grammar recap for the past perfect.
So we use past perfect, had, plus past participle, when we're already in the past and want to talk about something that happened before that.
I had never seen such luxury before this trip. The seeing, or not seeing, happened before the trip.
Before we boarded, we had drunk champagne in the lounge. The drinking happened before the boarding.
Nothing had prepared me for that experience. The lack of preparation existed before the experience.
If I had known how special it would be, I would have taken more photos. Imagining a different past.
Common words that go with past perfect are never, already, just, before, by the time, and after.
I had never experienced anything like it. The train had already left. She had just arrived. By the time we reached Venice, we had made friends with other passengers.
Perfect. Okay, listeners, here's your question for today. What's the most luxurious or memorable travel experience you've ever had? It doesn't have to be expensive. Maybe it was a beautiful journey, an amazing meal, or a moment where you felt truly special.
Write in the comments and tell us about it. Try to use the past perfect in your answer. For example, before that trip, I had never seen the ocean. When I finally saw it, I understood why people love the beach so much.
And try to use some descriptive adjectives too. Was it breathtaking, surreal, mesmerizing?
If this episode helped you with your English, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves travel or dreams of riding the Orient Express someday.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. You didn't waste it. You invested it in yourself.
We're proud of you for being here and learning with us.
This was Oops My English with Mia and Leo, coming to you live from Venice.
Until next time, keep dreaming, keep traveling, and keep learning.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Take care. See you in the next episode.